Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a new game that just came out called Loadout. Initially, I wasn't too sure how I was going to like this game. It's a free-to-play third-person shooter, and while there are some amazing free-to-play games out there, most come with some unwanted baggage. But just after a couple hours and many hours after that, it became quickly apparent that this game is an absolute blast. And so at its core, Loadout is a standard third-person shooter. You have multiple different weapons that you can run around with. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. But what makes Loadout so unique from other free-to-play games is that you can't actually buy weapons or upgrades with real-world money. There are very few games out there that have this type of business model, and the only one that I can think of at the top of my head is Dota 2, and that's coming from a developer and publisher that is well known and well loved. Even good ones like PlanetSide 2 or League of Legends have this type of system where you can purchase weapons or characters with real-world money, and so at least from that standpoint, they're already deviating from what a lot of free-to-play games do right now. And so what makes it so appealing is that when you first jump into the game, you don't have to worry about going head-to-head with players who have purchased all the amazing weapons and all of the amazing upgrades with real-world money. This is a large criticism that a lot of people have with free-to-play games, especially like on something like on PlanetSide 2 or League of Legends, where you jump in, and while you do have access to the base game and the core weapons or characters, you're going against players who have spent $100 or $200 on all of the weapons, and you just feel like you're at a disadvantage. And while I would say that League of Legends and PlanetSide 2 do a very good job at making sure that the base weapons or characters are powerful enough where you don't feel like you're at a huge disadvantage, I know that complaint is out there. But for Loadout, that isn't even an option. You don't even have the ability to purchase a weapon with real-world money. If you come across a player who has an amazing loadout, they have a particular weapon that is just dominating everyone, they have a customization that they've tweaked the gun to their specific type of playstyle, they earned that. They had to go in, they had to play the game, they had to think about what upgrade they wanted to do, and then they had to use the points and the point system that comes from the game itself to purchase everything and then customize the weapon to their liking. And so when you first jump into the game, it's a level playing field. Everyone that you're going against is using pretty much the same weapons that you are. They're not going to have an inherent advantage. Some may be a little further along. They may have customized a weapon to their playstyle, and that's fine, but at the same time, they can't just purchase all the weapons and then dominate everyone with these top-tiered guns like a lot of other free-to-play games do. But all this wouldn't mean anything if the gameplay itself was a pile of trash. But hopefully it is very apparent from my tone of voice and how excited I sound. That is not a problem at all. They have a bunch of different game modes, some being very unique and some being standard. They have a kill confirmed one. I don't think that's what it's called, but if you play Call of Duty, you'll be very familiar with that. They have capture the flag, but what they call it is capture the hammer, where the flag itself is a hammer, which makes sense. And instead of just shooting people with your primary weapon, when you have the flag, you smack people across the face, instantly killing them. And so when you're running around with the flag itself, you may also get a run speed increase. I'm not sure on that, but if you are trying to kill the flag carrier, you have to be careful, because if they get anywhere near you, it's an instant kill. So it's a nice twist on the game mode itself. They have many other game modes. I'm not going to go into all of them because that would take too much time to describe each of them. But the gameplay and the mechanics themselves, I would say, are pretty sound. I've played for many hours now, and while there were some moments where the player would kind of glitch on the environment themselves, it's hard to explain. For the most part, the mechanics and the gameplay was very tight. When I shot at an enemy, it notified that I was hitting them, their health was dropping. When I got shot at, I was getting notified that I was getting shot at. And coming from Battlefield, and I know how silly this is going to sound because Battlefield is a AAA title and Loadout is clearly an indie game, Battlefield struggles with their netcode and their hit registration. And so jumping on over into Loadout, where that's not a problem at all, and every single engagement is a lot of fun, and when you win an engagement, it's extremely satisfying because you know you won the engagement because of the skill or because of the cool maneuvers that you pulled off. It's very refreshing when you have that type of gameplay. And what I also really liked is that because this isn't your standard modern first-person shooter, you don't die in half a second when you get into a firefight with someone. You're gonna be up for a good 5 seconds when you're in an engagement with someone, and that allows you to think through the firefight. Do you want to retreat? Do you want to run for a health pack? Do you want to get a height advantage on the enemy so you can use your rocket launcher to get some splash damage on the target? There's so many different things that you have to think about in these firefights because they give you the time to think about it. You don't have to just go from cover to cover or worry about going from cover to cover and thinking that you're going to get instantly taken out by a sniper. There are weapons in this game that do a lot of damage, and there are some moments when you can almost one-shot an enemy, but for the most part, engagements last for a good couple of seconds, and it allows you to think through those firefights. And maybe it's just because I've been playing a lot of modern first-person shooters right now where everyone dies instantaneously, but having that couple extra seconds to think through the firefight and requiring a little bit more skill on the part of you and the enemy to maintain your shot and be consistent with your shot, it's been an absolute blast. It's been very refreshing, and I've been thoroughly enjoying the gameplay experience. Another thing I have to talk about is the aesthetics of the game, and more importantly, the way that they notify how close you are to death. So every once in a while, you may have noticed that certain sections of my character have blown off, like their brain will be exposed, their stomach, intestines will be exposed, and usually when you're at that point, you only have a couple of health left, and while it's not a huge deal by any means, and they also have other indicators to let you know that you are near death. They have a heartbeat monitor, they have the thing in the corner that shows you how much health you have. Just that, I wouldn't say it's subtle, but to have that component of the game where it literally showcases in front of you how close you are to dying is a nice touch, and it also just adds to the humor. Like, this game is hilarious. They do not take themselves seriously. There are a lot of components to it. I'm not going to go into them because it would take forever, but it's clear that the developers had a lot of fun making this game. It's got an attitude. There's a lot of humor in it, and it just adds to the gameplay itself. All that being said, though, there is one thing that did get on my nerves, and that is that you can't really adjust the field of view when you're playing on PC. They do have a slider, and I know this isn't a big problem for a lot of people out there. They don't mind having a low field of view because a lot of them come from consoles, and having a low field of view is par for the course for those players. But for someone who plays on PC all the time, having a low field of view causes headaches, and I know it causes headaches for a lot of people out there. And so, at least for my playtime, I couldn't play for more than a couple hours because it literally caused me headaches. I started to get not a migraine, but I could feel a headache coming on, and so I would have to put down the game. And I don't know if the developers have plans on changing this. They may go in and allow you to change the field of view a little bit more than you can right now, but it would be nice if they did that because it is a pretty big pet peeve of mine. When I play video games, I am not playing them to get headaches. I love the gameplay right now, but that is one deterrent, and I just had to kind of get that off my chest. But overall, I am having an absolute blast so far with Loadout. I can't say that I'm going to be playing for hundreds of hours like I do with the Battlefield franchise, but it's a fun change of pace, and if you're looking for something a little bit different, you're getting a little bit bored with the standard first-person shooters out there, I would highly recommend giving this a try. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I realize this is a little bit of a deviation from my normal standard first-person shooter gameplay, but I hope you enjoyed the change. But until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.